Hello, my name is Scott Crawford, and this is assignment number 7 for Game Engine and Design, working on the GUI. So as you can see, in the top left-hand corner, I have my GUI, which is currently displaying the frame rate in frames per second and how many milliseconds it takes to render each frame. Underneath it, I have a graph, I have a line graph representing the average of every 10 frames per second calculations, and it displays them right here. The other thing I have on this main thing is I can modify my camera speed. So initially my camera speed is about 2.5 of my individual blocks per second, and if I were to double it, my camera speed is faster. In addition to this, my GUI also tells me about every single model that's being rendered in my engine as of right now. So by clicking the item stats, this is every single different kind of object, what the engine calls the object, how many total they can be rendered, how many is currently being rendered, and whether they're being drawn or not. And I have everything in a list up here, and then it takes that same data down here, and it generates a line graph, not a line graph, excuse me, bar graph from that data, which is live updated. As you can see right here, this is my cursed chicken or my altered chicken model, which is produced from the cannon, and you can see just ticked up because another one's being added to the world. In addition to this, I can also look at everything that's animated in my world. So right here, I have all my actors, or every object in here that needs to move. So for instance, this right here is my cart object. So if I move over, my cart is what is carting the chickens back and forth. And it'll tell you whether it has a sound associated with it, what kind of routine it's using, the move speed, is it being held or is it holding something? You can see, oh, the cart's now holding something and drops it off. In addition to that, I can search via any single one of my routines. So if I search for the chicken routine, here are all my chickens that are using that routine, and then I can just clear the search and I can look for something else. I can also edit routines as well. So if I look at my chickens right now, my chickens will, when they're outside of the square, they'll always try to return to it, and they'll pick a spot within the boundaries of their little coup area. And if I were to edit it, I select chicken routine, and I can see here's the numbers associated with it. So let's increase my X minimum and increase my Z minimum. We'll hide this window, and you can see that the chickens are moving to a more condensed space because that is their range. In addition to this, I can also spawn in items. So if I click spawn item, I can set the coordinates of the item, I can set the axis of rotation, I can give it an angle, and I can turn it into an actor. So let's spawn a default cube, and let's just spawn it in front. So I'll spawn the object, hide the menu, and here it is, right in front where the camera was. So then I can I'll take a chicken, I'll select it, let's give it like a funky angle, so 100 degrees, and I can spawn on top of the camera, spawn the item, and here it is. Here's my chicken at the angle that we set for it. In addition to this, though, we can also spawn in items that have a select routine. So, for instance, let's take my street light. Where is it? Here it is. I'll select it to draw, move to the camera, and we're going to turn it into an actor. And instead of having the default air routine, let's give it the chicken routine. And I will spawn the object, and as you can see, the object is already returning back to the little box, and for the all intents and purposes, the engine will actually treat it as a chicken because the model is not dependent on the routine. Any model can have any single routine, so it'll continue wandering around, and maybe it'll get grabbed by the minecart eventually. In addition to this, I have some audio settings where I can increase or decrease the audio volume. And as of right now, they're all the same volume because my engine only handles one level of sound for the entire thing. And the other thing I have is I have my server information, which I have a chat. So to demonstrate this, I'll start up another instance of it, and it will auto connect to my previous one. So we'll minimize that, drag it over here. And I have my second instance up. So if I go to my server menu, go to my chat now and say hello, you can see, oh, it sends back over here, and I can go back to my server one. I can message, I can type in anything I want will be sent back over, and you can have a chat communication with as many people as possible. And that's currently it for my GUI assignment number 7.